All right, y'all. It is time to compare and contrast. Are you guys ready for this? So I have pulled up here Trump's closing ad and Kamala's closing ad. So let's dive in. We will start with the Trump one. Minute-long ad. Here we go.
4 years ago, we took a wrong turn and lost our purpose. We lost the strength that makes Americans who we are. If we dared to speak the truth, it was called hate speech, and our values were labeled shameful. That's when everything we care about fell apart. We surrendered our borders, our paychecks, and our courage. Our patriotism was called toxic. Men could beat up women and win medals, but there was no prize for the guy who got up every day to do his job. Now we're being asked to settle for the way things are. And we're wondering if America can make a comeback. We can, because we've done it before. When we get knocked down, we don't stay down, we get up again. We fight, we fight, we fight.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Okay, weak. I'm sorry, it was weak. So first of all, when the number one accusation coming at you from the other side is that you're a fascist, maybe it's not a good idea to end the ad with fight, fight, fight. Like, look, I get it, right? I get it. Oh, no, we're saying fight metaphorically. It means fight to make the country better. And yeah, like, I get it, right? I understand what they would say. But again, when the number one accusation from Democrats against you is you're a fascist, and the media also believes you're a fascist because you've done a lot of fascist things, maybe ending with fight, fight, fight does not send the message that you need to send. See, Trump needs to send the message, I'm not an extremist, I'm not authoritarian, I'm totally chill, I'm totally normal, I'm just going to, improve the economy, right? That's the message he needs to send. Oh, inflation, 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 economy's bad, I'll fix it, but also, guys, don't worry, I'm not insane, I'm not extreme. Actually, I'm a moderate on the issue of abortion, bro. I'm a moderate on the issue of abortion. I'll accept the last election. I'm just running again this time, bro. I'm normal. I'm not radical. I'm not extreme. He did not hit any of those notes in this ad. So a bunch of things that I think are horrible. At the beginning, they say 4 years ago, something changed. This is Trump's problem. Trump can't help but insist everything under him was beautiful and perfect and amazing. And everything under Democrats is the worst thing ever. He goes from one extreme to the other. It's total black and white world, total everything's angelic and amazing under me. Everything's demonic and horrible under Democrats. It's too heavy-handed. It's too fucking stupid, right? People can remember when you were president. They can remember that 3,000 people a day were dying of COVID. They can remember that, there were lockdowns under you and he lost 3 million jobs in his time in office. And what he does is he gives himself a mulligan for the COVID stuff. And he's like, well, before COVID, everything was great. Okay, but again, you don't get a mulligan. You have to play the cards you're dealt, bitch. That's how this works. So for him to insist 4 years ago something changed, because, under Trump, everything was hunky-dory and glorious and amazing. It's we have a short memory as a nation. It's not that short. It's not that short. So I think that's bullshit. I think they're leaning too hard into the culture war nonsense of if we spoke the truth, it was hate speech. Come on, man. Come on. Men can now beat up women. So even in his closing ad, he's harping away on the anti-trans stuff. When it was proven in 2022, this shit doesn't work. Republicans ran a bunch of anti-trans ads in 2022, and then they lost. They lost. So whoever is advising you, I have a suspicion that a lot of the former DeSantis staffers are running a lot of Trump's online shit. And look, they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. This is one of the big problems for the Trump campaign. They are way, 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 way too online. It's just insanely online. Yesterday, they were saying they think there was some weird story involving a squirrel, and they were acting because of the squirrel, Trump's going to win the election. And it's people don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So it's just not a good ad. It's just not that good. And just to show you guys that I try my best to be objective on this, the Trump 2016 closing ad was one of the best closing ads I've ever seen. And when I saw that ad, I was like, oh boy, he could actually win this thing in 2016. Turns out that was true. He ran, his best campaign that he ever ran was 2016, and it's not even close. 2020 was worse than 2016, but I think 2024 is even worse than 2020. I mean, this is just bad, right? Okay, so there's Trump's closing ad. Now, let's listen to Kamala's.
Hey, Hannah.
Come here, Hannah. Shake my hand. How you doing?
Good.
And bring everybody back together.
And that's exactly how I feel.
That's what I'm doing now.
Okay, you have to stay in touch with me, okay? I'm
love
very
to.
serious about that.
Love to.
Okay. Throughout this campaign, I've seen the best of America, and I've seen what is holding you back and weighing you down. High costs, fundamental rights taken away, and politics that have driven fear and division. You deserve better. As president, I'll bring a new generation of leadership. I'll take on price gouging and bring down the cost of groceries and housing and prescriptions. I'll fight for your freedom to make your own choices, and I will protect your health care and your benefits, not take them away. The vast majority of people in our country have so much more in common than what separates them. Good people, hardworking people. We see in our fellow Americans neighbors, not enemies. We believe in each other. We believe in our country. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us. Together, we'll build a brighter future for our nation, where we stand for freedom, we stand for justice, we stand for the dignity of work. We haven't yet quite reached all of those ideals, but we will die trying because we love our country. Now, the baton is in our hands. I pledge to seek common sense solutions to make your life better. And I pledge to be a president for all Americans. Now I'm asking for your vote, because as president, I will get up every day and fight for the American people. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Now, I should also point out that the ads that the Trump team and the Kamala team were running the most down the stretch, the Trump team was running a lot of anti-trans ads. In fact, they stopped running... it used to be number one was immigration and inflation. They really decreased on that. They really increased on anti-trans ads. And the final ads that the Democrats were running were almost exclusively focused on economics and corruption and billionaires. So the ad that we saw all the time here was Kamala would show a picture of Trump with Elon Musk, and then show another picture of Trump with Epstein, and then she'd go on to say, like, he wants to cut taxes for the wealthy and for corporations again, and I'm going to cut your taxes. And there was one other ad that was similar to that, also a very populist ad that she was running. So look, again, down the stretch, I think that the Kamala team is just running better ads, more populist, more focused on the issues. And then this year for their closing ad, so what does she highlight? Freedom, justice, unity. And then she really stresses, I'm going to do common sense solutions. And she says, we don't see our fellow Americans as enemies. So the enemies line is literally a direct reference to Trump repeatedly saying, I'm going to go after the enemy within, the enemy within. And this is her way of being like, hey, look, I don't see fellow Americans as enemies. I see them as fellow Americans. And she keeps stressing, I'm going to represent everybody when I'm in office. Look, the reason why she's doing it, and the reason why they've leaned into it so hard, is a lot of Americans will look at Kamala, and just the fact that she's a black woman, they will say she is coded as far left, right? They just see black woman and they think radical, far left, right? And so she's really had to work overtime to be like, hey, Republicans are welcome. I'm all about unity. I'm all about common sense. I'm going to represent everybody. And look, I think she has done a good job of pairing that sort of rhetoric with also saying stuff like, I'm going to ban price gouging. You're getting price gouged at the grocery store. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to give you a $6,000 child tax credit. I'm going to lower the price of more drugs. Let's talk about that. I'm going to help you with your down payment assistance if you're a first-time home buyer. I'm going to help you get rid of medical debt, right? So she's really paired together the common sense, unity, bipartisanship, all represent everybody. It's a mix of that and genuine economic populism, and they've sort of stressed both equally. And I got to be honest, I think that's a winning formula. I do. I think Trump is way too wrapped up in grievance. Trump is way too invested in retribution and revenge and retaliation, and here's the people I hate, and here's why they're evil, and like that's his thing now. He's bitter, he's angry, and he is vicious. Whereas on the Democratic side, I mean, they're just running a classic presidential campaign. That's what it is. It's just a classic presidential campaign. And I don't know, I think the classic presidential campaign approach, I think, is objectively superior and can land with more people than the bitter, angry, resentment campaign. And again, this is not Trump of 2016. There is no economic populism. There is no talking about, oh, your jobs are being outsourced too much or whatever, and I'm gonna protect your jobs. I'm gonna raise your wages. There's none of that. There's none of that. And so, I don't know. I definitely give the edge to Kamala looking at these closing ads. I guess we'll find out very soon now, won't we? Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.